to Listening to Lancaster. I'm Diana Martin with Hourglass, and it's my pleasure to be joined today by Sarita Rivera, Lancaster City Alliance's new outreach specialist. Thanks so much for being here today, Sarita.
Hi, Diana. Thank you for having me.
I'd also like to thank Michael's Motor Cars, who sponsors these episodes, for their support of Hourglass. Let's jump right in. Sarita, can you tell me more about your new position? What is a Lancaster City Alliance outreach specialist, and what will you be focused on?
Okay. Well, outreach specialist is focused on that, just doing outreach. And the population I serve is the homeless population. My position came about through the city. The mayor wanted to see different changes. And so I was hired, and this position was created. And it's a pilot program. It's a trial for about 1 year, and we'll explain a little bit more about that. But I go out into the community and I focus on the needs of the homeless, and then I refer them out to other agencies. I work with other agencies throughout the county and the city, but I am, solely I work for the city, just serving them, trying to get them off the streets. So.
That's such an important role. Can you tell me a little bit more about your background and how you got into this work?
Sure. Yes, about 20 years ago, actually, I was working as a administrative assistant for the school district in Allentown, Pennsylvania, and I had an encounter with a 5-year-old little girl who was being abused, and I was subpoenaed to the courts, and that actually piqued my interest in doing social services. So I went back to school and started, I started working for children and youth services, and I did that for about 7 years. And I found it was my passion to help others. And I even, I moved out to the Philadelphia area, where I became one of the, I'd like to say, best outreach workers in the streets of Kensington. The Badlands, where people really suffered, and I was involved in the needle exchange program, soup kitchens, making referrals there, trying to get them off the streets and find suitable resources for them there. And then I found myself continuing my education coming here to Lancaster, and I was pleased to know that I was, interviewed for this position, and then I got hired. I just want to also add that, it's not, for me, it's not a form of, I aspire to make a difference, not just a living in this position. So it makes it a little easier.
New to Lancaster. So what's your experience been in Lancaster so far?
Oh, I love it. I love the historical buildings and the beauty of it. I was just so drawn and taken by it. And it's like a whole new world for me. Coming from Philadelphia, I lived in Philadelphia for 10 years. This was like a go-between, kind of like from Allentown to Philadelphia. So I found my peace here, and yeah, I really love it.
Well, I'm a Lancaster City resident, and I can say that Lancaster City residents care a lot about individuals experiencing homelessness and addiction and mental illness. What do you see as the status of that right now in Lancaster City? Are those challenges getting better or worse? What are you seeing in your experience on the streets?
Well, I'm happy to say that when I first started, I had a pretty good experience. Like the first week I was working, because I worked in a agency here, this gentleman who was displaced recognized me, and he said, "Oh, Miss Rita," and within like 3 days I had him in treatment. That's success for me. And it is a challenge, especially during this time when the weather's changing and there is a shortage of the shelters. And we're going to talk a little bit about that later, but I think that it's going to get better. There's funding and there's opportunities, and coming together as a community and other resources. I have seen it grow already from August till now. There has been a lot of people who have gotten services. So I'm hopeful, yeah.
And what are some of the services that you can offer to individuals who you meet that are homeless?
Well, a couple of the things I do is I make sure that their basic needs are met. Food, water, refer them to soup kitchens. That's a necessity. They need a shower. Listen, they're going to get a shower. And right now we have a day shelter that opened part-time, and they're able to go there and work on their IDs or social security cards, whatever kind of paperwork they may need to apply for jobs or apartments. Another one of the things I do is if they need clothing or food separately from, their breakfast or soup kitchens, they can go to an agency and get clothing. I can give them referrals. If they have to go to work and I have a bus ticket and they don't have transportation for an interview, I have the ability to do that, as well as like laundry vouchers. So there's an array of things I can do, but the main thing I do, my position is to refer them out to other agencies. And a lot of time is by utilizing the 211 services. So.
And who are some of those other agencies that you've been working with?
Sure. A lot of the agencies they had Tenfold, and that's a collaboration of LAHOP and Tabor used to be. So I refer a lot of people there to Tenfold, the Food Hub, Water Street Mission. We have one shelter, but a lot of times they have to go through the 211 process. However, I have connected with a lot of the case managers, and I can also refer them outright to them. CSG is another one for mental health. So there's drug and alcohol, mental health, crisis intervention. I meet with a lot of people that I can refer them out to. So
Your role is so critical because you're serving people really who are in crisis.
mhm.
How do we move as a community towards more long-term solutions to homelessness or addiction, mental health issues? What do you think we could be doing as a community to keep people off the streets initially?
Sure. Well, I believe that awareness is key and education, educating not only, the social service spectrum, but going out towards like the community. Let's have community groups. Let's get, the merchants involved. Hey, let's make the awareness is key. That's what I can say about that. I think that would improve a lot of things.
And along those lines, I think I read somewhere one of your other skill sets is you are bilingual and you can
Mhm.
speak Spanish, and that's probably been helpful in being able to work with diverse communities in the city.
Correct. Yes, I am bilingual and I sign somewhat. So I'm able to, speak to a lot of the Hispanics. And I also respect a lot of the cultural differences in other, nationalities. I really have a big spectrum of skills that I believe that, again, I go to the passion of my position, that I'm so approachable that a lot of these people feel comfortable coming to me no matter what. So I treat them with dignity and respect.
And how do you measure success in your role?
If I can get one person off the street one day, one night, that's success for me. Yeah.
And there are some data points that you track, right, at Lancaster City Alliance with people in your work. What are some of those data points that you're looking at?
Yes. The numbers are growing. I give a monthly report to the Lancaster City Alliance, and I also use a tracker called GeoPal, and for every interaction, I track what I'm doing, the numbers I'm doing, and then at the end of the month, I will report that in as well So yeah, I have to keep tight numbers to see, so that in hopes that we can get funding and this position can continue.
So are you tracking things like the number of people you're interacting with on that you meet on the streets, but also things like the people who are you're able to direct to services or provide housing to?
Yes, yes. If it's a person who needs mental health, I'll track that not only as the number, but this person, ethnicity, um, a Hispanic male, met him at, the square. He's in need of services. I will record everything, every interaction, as well as the number of that person, and, send it as a report. Mhm.
So you've been on the job a couple months now, I think since August, you mentioned. What's your experience been like so far? What are some of the things that you're seeing on the street? Are there any, themes or patterns emerging? Yeah, curious, you're so involved in
Sure.
this work to just kind of hear more about what that looks like on the ground.
Okay. Well, my everyday outreach work is basically just going out there and acting like them, basically. I don't like, I dress as, I might wear my uniform one day. I'll go out there and, I'll go into the parks. I'll go into the alleys. I go to the soup kitchens. I kind of break bread with everybody and say, okay, here I am. What do you need? Every day could be a different day. There might be somebody in crisis. I've gotten people in treatment right off the street. I'm able to call a place called Second Chances through Blueprints, and they come and they provide services right there to the individual who might want to go into detox or treatment. Another situation might be a crisis. So I'm able to, utilize my phone. If they don't have a phone, we call crisis. If they're sitting on a stoop, I sit on a stoop. There's nothing that prevents me from giving them their services that they need, and there's no time limit. Like if I need to spend a half an hour with that person, that's great. But if there's a crisis and, I've spent 3 hours, then I have to do that. And I did do that. It's not always, it's far and few between, but I also am able to, recognize when someone's in danger and does not have the ability or the mindset to make a decision for themselves. And then I'm able to go into the 302 process of having them, having the police department help me is great as well. But one of my focuses is not to have merchants or other people call the police, call me first and see what I can do and then refer them out. So
And how do people get in touch with you if they could utilize your services?
in the streets. That's what I say. I have no number. You will find me. I am around everywhere. And since August 2nd till today, I'm happy to say that a lot of people know my name, a lot of people. And they just say, oh, go see Sarita. She's here, she's there. From the business owners to the visitor center to the homeless people in the street. I've been called Miss Sarita. And some people say, I will never call you just Sarita. You'll always be Miss Sarita. So that makes me feel like there's a connection. And in the homeless population, that's a community in itself. And there's people there that will guide other people. And there's leaders there. So the leader knows to come find me too. So it kind of works itself out.
And do you have any idea so far? I mean, what percentage of the individuals that you've been working with who are experiencing homelessness are also facing mental health illness or addiction? Is that pretty common in the cases that you're seeing?
The majority of people that I come across, listen, nobody wakes up and says, I want to be homeless. But the majority of people that I come across are either from, back trauma, some mental health issues, and yeah, substance abuse comes into play when you're thrown out of your house at 19 and you never knew anything else, and it becomes a lifestyle for you. So yeah, it becomes hard sometimes, and I just try to find services for them.
So your position is being funded by Lancaster City as a pilot program to help neighbors experiencing homelessness. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that pilot and what it entails.
Okay, well, I'm going to let Anne explain a little bit about that, because since I'm new to the position and she's been here, I'm going to let her take over for a few minutes.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Hi, Diana. I'm
Hi.
Ann Williams, Director of Communications for Lancaster City Alliance. And the program kind of came about through several collaborative meetings with City Hall, the county government, Tenfold, Lanco My Home, and Lancaster City Alliance. And we were all kind of trying to work together to find a way to better support people who are experiencing homelessness and addiction and mental illness. And what was decided is that under the already existing Lancaster City Alliance Ambassador Program, we could house a city-focused outreach specialist, which of course is now Sarita. And the city of Lancaster, city government, was able to fund her position. So it truly is a partnership. Lancaster City Alliance, Sarita reports to her manager here under us, and works within the already established ambassador program. So there's a structure to what she's doing. And then of course, city government could help fund the position. Now, it was established also that we needed to make it a pilot, because this is so new that we want to make sure it's effective. So after a 1-year period, I think Sarita talked about the data tracking that she does. So we'll kind of be able to analyze the effectiveness of the work, and and possibly tweak it to make it even better. And so it's just an opportunity to learn, and hopefully, fingers crossed, grow the position, because after you meet Sarita and speak to her, she's a huge asset to our community.
And I understand the pilot also includes some investment in transitional living and other needs related to homelessness. Can you elaborate on that at all?
Are you aware? Does that ring a bell?
I'm not certain if there's I'm sorry. Yeah. I'm not certain if that is happening at this point. And I'm sure throughout this process, and like Ann explained, this is kind of just the pilot, and then we're going to see how this goes. And maybe in the future, we'll have an answer for you. But yeah, at this point, I'm not quite certain about that.
Well, I'd love to make sure we end by asking how the Lancaster community can support your work. What are your needs, and how can people listening to this interview get involved?
Well, I think that not only through the collaboration of the community and other agencies, but just like I'm really focused on support from the community, and having awareness, and the merchants, and getting involved, as far as it gets hard. And I want to say this, it gets harder when we look at a person who's homeless or displaced. I'd like to say displaced. I just, that homeless thing just kind of goes drives me a little crazy, but I like to say displaced, right? And just believe in them. And everybody, I believe everyone deserves a second chance, and not just pass them by and look at them like they're not human or not important. But I mean, I go on a tangent, but I think that the community, it's very important for awareness, again, is going to be the key, and maybe some education, and yeah.
Is there anything else you all would like to share that I didn't ask about today?
Well, Ann mentioned the ambassador program, and I just want to kind of say, that's a major part, and I'm going to give that his name. Danny Torres has been such a force behind what I'm doing, because one of the things, as a homeless outreach person, specialist, I need to stay safe. And I carry a radio, and I have a GPS tracker, and I'm safe with the ambassadors, with, the police department, because I go into the shadiest places around people who are doing some of the things that, I could really be in danger. So I think I wanted to really give him, the fact that I feel safe, and he made it that way. So he's made my job a lot easier, and I do report to him as well. So yeah. Ann, did you want to say anything else? I mean, there's so much I could say, but I just want to say this, and ending with this, is that I mentioned it earlier. No one wakes up and says, I want to be homeless. And there is possibility for change. Anyone can change, given the chance. So,
and if I could, wait till I get in the camera here. If I could just add, I think the community would be interested in hearing this. I had the opportunity to walk down the street with Sarita one time, and it, just as she described it, she is approachable. It was really wonderful. People just started appearing and kind of flocking around her and wanting to speak with her. And she and I had a place to go. So you couldn't speak like right that moment, but they knew what to do, and she had not been on the job that long at that point. And I think it was really valuable for me to see. It was exciting, and she's really got a genuine personality to help. And it's been fun having her on board.
Thank you, Ann.
Well, thank you both so much for the work that you do. And Sarita, welcome to Lancaster and welcome to your new role. And I look forward to all the impact that you're going to have, and just really appreciate you being here. And maybe we'll have to do an update in a year and hear how the pilot went with what the next steps are.
Sure.
But I appreciate you being on today. And for everyone who's listening, you can find more episodes of Listening to Lancaster on our YouTube channel and on our website at hourglasslancaster.org. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ann.